The biggest lie in food history. Marie Antoinette said, "Let them eat cake."
What if I tell you that Marie Antoinette never said, "Let them eat cake"? The poor woman was executed by guillotine in the French Revolution in 1793 based entirely on fake propaganda. Fake propaganda is more dangerous now than it was in the French Revolution. Don't believe everything you see, hear, or eat. What if I tell you that the phrase was said by someone totally different, written by someone completely different, and in fact it was a different phrase? The phrase in French was "qu'ils mangent de la brioche," which means "let them eat brioche." What's brioche? You know, that eggy bread you love to make French toast out of? Well, find out more about brioche, not fake propaganda, real stuff, right here with me, and a wonderful recipe to make brioche.
Understand how this false propaganda led to the execution of the Queen of France, Marie Antoinette, we have to go back to the late 18th century when France was facing one of the worst economic crises in its history. Poor harvests sent grain prices soaring, and bread, the staple food for ordinary families, became difficult to afford. For many people, bread wasn't just a part of a meal, it was survival. Some families spent nearly half of their income just trying to buy bread. It all began in the summer of 1788 when a massive hailstorm destroyed crops across northern France, followed by a severe drought. Then in the winter of 1788-89, one of the coldest winters on record, it froze rivers, halted grain mills, and stopped food transportation. By the spring of 1789, bread prices soared, costing an average worker 80% of his daily income. In July of 1789, extreme hunger and rumors of the military hoarding grain sparked the storming of the Bastille. As shortages worsened, frustration turned into public rage. The royal family became the obvious target, and no one attracted more criticism than Queen Marie Antoinette. She was a woman, young, Austrian, fashionable, and surrounded by the luxury of Versailles. To struggling citizens, she was the perfect scapegoat. She represented everything they believed was wrong with the monarchy. But letters from Antoinette to her family in Austria at this time reveal an attitude very different to the spirit of "let them eat cake." She writes, "It is quite certain that in seeing the people who treat us so well despite their own misfortune, we are more obliged than ever to work hard for their happiness." The king seems to understand this. But reviling a woman and blaming her for the failed policies and flailing economy was an easy game. The famous quote spread so quickly, it perfectly fit the image people already had of her as their queen. But history tells a different story. The earliest known version of the quote appears in the autobiography Confessions, written by the famous French philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He tells a story of an unnamed princess who supposedly said, "Let them eat brioche, ce qu'ils mangent de la brioche." But there's one big problem. Rousseau wrote those words years before Marie Antoinette ever became Queen of France. At the time, she was still a young girl living in Austria. Historians have searched letters, diaries, court records, and eyewitness accounts, yet no reliable evidence has ever been found that she actually spoke those infamous words. The quote survived because it made a powerful piece of political propaganda, not because it was true. The real Marie Antoinette was far more complicated. Away from the formal ceremonies of Versailles, she often escaped to her private retreat, the Petit Trianon. There, she surrounded herself with gardens, orchards, flowers, and a small dairy where fresh milk, butter, cream, and cheese were produced. She loved elegant pastries, seasonal fruits, rich hot chocolate, and delicate desserts, but historians have found no evidence that brioche was her favorite bread. Ironically, the bread forever connected with her reputation, as well as the cake she never talked about, have very little to do with her personal tastes. So what exactly is brioche? Well, it's the French version of milk bread, the fancy version of milk bread. Unlike ordinary bread, brioche is enriched, made with generous amounts of butter, eggs, milk, and sugar. Those ingredients give it an incredibly soft texture, golden crust, and rich buttery flavor. It's somewhere between bread and pastry, which is why many people mistake it for cake. Its origins stretch back to medieval Normandy, a region famous for producing some of France's finest butter. Local bakers began enriching their dough with the dairy products they had in abundance, and over time, brioche became associated with celebration, holidays, and wealthy households. That history made the famous quote even more ironic. Suggesting that hungry people should eat a richer, more expensive bread would have sounded incredibly insulting, even though it almost never happened. Now let's make a classic French brioche. Into the bowl of a stand mixer, combine 500 grams of bread flour, 50 grams of sugar, 10 grams of instant yeast, and 8 grams of salt. Add 5 large eggs and 50 milliliters of whole milk, then mix until a rough dough forms. Now comes the ingredient that defines brioche. Gradually add 250 grams of softened, full-fat, unsalted butter, one piece at a time. At first, the dough will look sticky and messy, but keep mixing. As the butter fully incorporates, it transforms into a smooth, glossy dough with remarkable elasticity. This rich dough explains why brioche was once considered a luxury. Butter and eggs were expensive ingredients, making breads like this something reserved for celebrations of very wealthy people. Now cover this dough and let it rise until doubled in size. While it rests, let us explore how brioche spread across France. Every region developed its own version. Brioche de Nanterre is baked in a loaf pan using 8 balls of dough. Brioche à tête is the elegant round loaf topped with a smaller ball, giving it the appearance of wearing a tiny crown. Brioche Vendaine is traditionally braided and lightly scented with orange blossom water, while Gâche Vendaine offers a softer, richer variation. In southeastern France, Saint-Genis brioche is filled with bright pink pralines that melt into the loaf as it bakes. Now let us return to our brioche dough. After the first rise, refrigerate the dough for several hours or overnight. Chilling firms the butter and develops a better consistency and texture and improves the flavor. Once chilled, divide the dough into equal portions, shape into a loaf, and place it into a buttered pan. Let it proof again until nearly doubled. Then brush the top with egg wash for its signature golden finish. Bake at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 to 35 minutes until the loaf is beautifully browned and the aroma of butter and eggs fills the kitchen. It's important to note that a real traditional brioche always has eggs in it. Today, brioche has traveled far beyond France. It is used for French toast, gourmet burgers, lobster rolls, bread pudding, and countless bakery creations around the world. There are also so many versions all over the world of brioche. There is the Indian milk bread, which is a kind of brioche, but it's vegetarian without eggs. You have challah, which is the Jewish Sabbath bread, which has oil in it instead of butter. Legendary chefs such as Julia Child introduced brioche to home cooks. Richard Bertinet taught modern bread-making techniques. Thomas Keller elevated brioche to fine dining, while Dominique Ansel and Cédric Grolet continue reinventing brioche for a new generation. More than 600 years after brioche first appeared, it remains one of France's greatest culinary achievements. And perhaps that's the greatest twist in this story. Marie Antoinette is remembered for a sentence that she almost never said. And perhaps that's the greatest and saddest twist in this story. Marie Antoinette is remembered for a sentence she never spoke. She was sentenced to the guillotine. But the bread forever linked to her name tells a very different story, one of craftsmanship, patience, and centuries of French tradition. Sometimes history isn't shaped by facts alone. Sometimes it's shaped by stories. And sometimes it shapes bread. And while the myth of let them eat cake or ce qu'il mange de la brioche may never disappear, every warm slice of brioche reminds us that the truth can be just as fascinating and sad.